Welcome to Tuesday Tips. Stephanie here. This week, I've got a universal law to talk to you about. But first, I want to ask you a question. Oops. Dropped my remote. Do you find yourself comparing yourself to others when it comes to yourself or even your business? Do you find yourself looking at other people and saying they're so much more successful than me? Well, this week's universal law is really going to help you out with that. Because when we think like that, it can really prevent us from living and standing in our authenticity and stop us from really healing and doing the work that we were meant to do. So stick with me for the next few minutes, and I'm going to review with you 7 hot tips on how you can embrace your path, your unique path to success. So this week we're going to talk about universal law number 9. Out of the 12, we're up to number 9. And number 9 is the law of relativity. You may have heard this before. It's really big in scientific communities. I know they've talked about it on The Big Bang Theory, if you ever watched that show. But what the universal law actually says is that everything is in a state of neutrality. Everything is neutral. It's us that see something as positive or negative, good, bad. And that really has to do with your experiences, your perception of something. Let's take a rainstorm, for instance. Now, or if you were ever a kid, I live in the Northeast. I live in New York. Okay? So it's winter time and it snows and the schools are closed. Ever know a kid that wasn't excited when there was a snow day? Right? Kids are like, yeah, I get to go out and build a snowman. But what did mom and dad think of that? They were like, oh, snow day, right? It's all about how you look at the situation. And it's based on your experiences and what your expectations are, really. So, you can either get excited about the snow day like a kid, or you can kind of be like, ugh, oh my God, what am I going to do with the kids tomorrow? You can think of it as a burden, right? When it comes to your business, I don't want you thinking of it as a burden. I want you to be excited and be like, yay, snow day. When those challenges come up, and they're going to come up, they're going to come up. Okay? But here's the thing. We each have our own unique path to walk. That's it. And I know it's hard for us not to compare ourselves to other people. We have been programmed to do this our whole lives, whether it's been from society, from school, from your parents, from your religious upbringing, whatever it is. It seems natural to compare. But don't compare. Embrace your unique path. And here are my 7 hot tips to do that. The first is to really cultivate your sense of self-awareness. I'm sure many of you do some form of meditation or journaling or self-reflection, or even have mentors. And that's a really good place to start. And you should continue to do this. Really cultivate that, because when you cultivate that, you can really manage your perspective. And it really helps you recognize when maybe you're comparing yourself to somebody else. Comparing yourself can be healthy though, but you want to stay away from unhealthy. You want to stay away from that negative self-talk. But comparing yourself and saying that, so let's take somebody who maybe does sound baths as a healing practice, and you see somebody else who is doing really well with sound baths. Well, but you're not doing as well. Well, then look at them for inspiration. What are they doing differently? How are they talking about what they're doing? What kind of programs and services are they offering? And is that something that you can do for your audience? Is that something your audience might be responsive to as well? So often when we compare, it leads to dissatisfaction. But when you compare objectively, you can see where maybe some gaps are and maybe be inspired to do some things differently. So stay away from that negative self-talk, that negative stuff, and go, okay, what are they doing differently than I am? Which leads me to my next one. Set your own personal benchmarks. First, define what success means to you. That is really where you're going to start. What does success look like for you? Success is a journey. It's not a destination. So does success mean that you learned something new today? Does success mean that you that you were able to practice your gift this week and heal somebody who really was in pain? What does success look like for you? And then set up your own goals based on your values and based on your aspirations. And set your own benchmarks. Okay? And when you hit those benchmarks, don't forget to celebrate them. Do something. Have a dance party. Go treat yourself to your favorite dessert or coffee. Allow yourself to take a bath. Whatever it is. Make sure when you hit them, you are celebrating those goals. That is something that we don't do enough. Because doing that reinforces that these are your benchmarks and that you are on your success path. Embrace your challenges as opportunities. Okay? So again, if you're not growing, find someone who is. See what they're doing. You know, years ago, I remember when I was being trained in the music industry, and I had a class called concert promotion, and our teacher said, because we did a live event, said, there is never a problem, there is only a situation. Because when we talk about problems need to be solved. Situations create room for growth, for opportunity, and you may be able to see something differently. If this is the situation, and we want the situation to change, how can we go about doing that? that leads to asking those open-ended questions. How can we change the situation? So whenever you're faced with a challenge, look at it as a situation, because situations have opportunities. Practice gratitude. Just something that I'm sure many of you already do. I practice gratitude daily. I start my day off with gratitude journaling. You may have heard me talk about this already. And I thank myself first and foremost, because that's something we tend not to do. We overlook ourselves. So thank yourself. And then thank the universe for the trees and the sky and the sun and the earth. Mother Gaia for her cool earth, whatever it is. The next might seem a little weird, but also seeking diverse perspectives, getting other people's perspectives. You want to surround yourself with a group of diverse people so that you get different viewpoints, because somebody may see something that you don't. And you're like, oh, aha, okay, yeah, that might work. It really does help broaden your perspective, because, you know, there are lots of different ways to approach a situation. So having a network of people who you can trust to give you constructive feedback. This is important. It has to be constructive feedback. You know, I think a lot of family gets offended. I understand they want the best for you, but sometimes it can come off as judgment. Going to your family may not be the best answer. But if you have a network of peers that are also building businesses in the healing space, they may offer different types of services. Or maybe it's an accountant. You know, you wouldn't think of that, but someone who's a CPA helps heal people in their own way, because they help you manage your money before it's too late. So having that diverse network of perspective can really help you as well, especially when you come up against those roadblocks and challenges. And the last is really just to support others on their journey. Really being genuinely happy for someone else who hits one of their benchmarks is something that can be felt throughout the universe. And when you can be genuinely happy for someone else and not compare yourself to them, you know you're on the right path. So, those are my 7 tips on how to help embrace your unique path to success and implement the law of relativity. If you're having a challenge with this, please feel free to take me up on my free Path to Profits breakthrough session. This Path to Profits breakthrough session is a time where you and I, it's a free 30-minute session where you and I get to sit down one-on-one, talk about what you want, what's in the way, and help you move past it, at least initially, with a couple of action steps or a mini plan. We'll get to see if we want to work together more. And if we do, great. If not, we part as friends. But I am committed to helping people building their businesses save themselves time, money, and energy, because those are the 3 most precious resources that an entrepreneur has. So take me up on my free 30-minute Path to Profits breakthrough session. They are on a first come, first serve basis. Just click the link in the email or in the comments below, depending on where you're watching this. And I look forward to sitting down and getting you more support. Until then, wishing you much success.